Yo, hold on a sec. The sound of the background's Bridgerton. I don't know. This is a list of 388 ideas. By name only, obviously. There are at least 2024. And TM, I call it trademarks with an X, like Karl Marx, to be funny. It just means that's something I never heard before, right? I never read it or heard it as far as I know. The concept is something I ran into. And
You never asked me a question.
shut up, Bridgerton. Some of them are, it's obvious as fuck. Occasionally I'll throw an asterisk if I'm like sure, like the word legitimately. I actually searched that and it existed and it had to, right?
No? Private information about the season's
But you just don't know, and I use them. It's basically a search term. People don't ideas. People don't own ideas. Corporations aren't people. There is, because no one will run, because no charismatic, potent man or woman will probably run in for 2024. It is possible that a dark light horse or dark horse light knight, aka white knight writer, could just win and be like, there's only a few things you need to be sure of to elect me versus this fucking clown, or this octogenarian man and father, husband, citizen, president. But like, the world is moving very fast, and I'm
Be sure to let her know that her meeting with Monica says hello.
50, and I know that I don't have 3-4 decades of top-notch mental ability left. The job is to protect the country from attack. I mean, to protect other countries from any attacks by us that are not provoked. To protect the people from enemies, external and internal.
We must tell the new
You could say we're going to keep everything the same while I'm president.
He is here somewhere.
If we're attacked, we're going to go fucking ballistic.
Of course I'm sure the dowry was paid.
And what we're going to do over a 4-year period, we're going to keep everything the same, so it's not that serious. What's 10% change going to be made?
Well, what use are elaborate weddings anyway, my lord, when
It's like 4 years, run things the way they are run, stop making legislation and make it the job of all the elected officials. Unless the case can be made that this is something where people are being hurt, we can adapt what's there in a temporary basis to help people, even if it's not fully efficient, fine, we can do that. But the people, the legislators and the executives, they could do what needs to be done in terms of, like, the execution of existing laws, but most of those are done by public civil servants far further down the chain. The people in the legislative office, they're like generally supposed to be making legislation, not specifically deciding paths of action, but like maybe the strategy behind the rules of the game. And prices for shit. They can set taxes and shit, right? So I'm high as fuck. Sorry, it's not. I cleaned my pipe and got really you call this shit a one hitter. It's not. I could smoke a fifth that much weed and done perfectly with the right, oxygen injection. I get high enough on a fifth that much weed. Excuse me, my stomach my GI tract is not great. It's on and off, but it's definitely, I'm gonna be 50 in 50 days. 50 and 50. I would like to slightly change the dynamic of every relationship that I have with everybody in my nuclear family, going upwards, my brothers, like children's mother, my children, like the few cousins that there are, and like really close friends who are, you know, akin to family. And I could do that with this. Like, you could look at this list, right? Watch it play all the way through. This is 388 of my better ideas. There are not too many that existed, I don't know, a year ago, which are not on this list. Very few aren't real. Like URL, I don't have an idea for that, but I'm pretty sure I could make one up. It might take some time. But URL is, that's like the address, right? It's kind of like the address in a web address, right? It's a URL. I don't even know what the fuck. Hey Siri, what does URL mean?
Okay, I've found this on the web for what does URL mean. Check it out.
No, URL. She's so dumb. You never can rely on her. So the 388 here, I've never really claimed more than $144 million ideas. The minimum of my life's work is worth $144 million. $1 million in extra revenue for each of a dozen ideas. And we could say, could maybe push that to 169 of 2024. 420 of 2024 are pretty fucking good. If I publish as nothing else, I will publish as for 2024. And that's 420 good ideas out of 2024 ideas in 2024. All of it facilitated by weed. Because without weed, I would have been a body doctor. I would have probably performed thousands of cardiac or neurological operations on often, you know, geriatric Americans, and invested well, and, you know, had a net worth of $11 million, or maybe I would have been an F-22 pilot. Maybe I could catch 22 Raptors. I knew they would catch the 22 caliber. That was a thing back in the day, the 22 caliber killer. Like, it's easy to make an argument that, like, to tell. I think it was not that difficult to create science fiction, pre-science fiction, which sort of presumes that, whether fully consciously in the way we would understand or not, like, this shit was written, right? I say to boring people, maybe to fuck with them, like, that shit is so rote. That shit you just spoke is so rote, it never should have been written. Thank God it wasn't written. Thank God it just dribbled out of your lips. I would take that shit and make a fucking an eclipse. So, family. There's me, there's my dad, there's my two brothers, my kid's mom, my kids. I mean, I should name them first. My brother's kids. Probably not that many years until one of my brother's kids has a kid. All the 6 kids that come from, like, my dad and my mom. Well, sorry, all the 3 kids and all the 6 grandkids that come from my dad and my mom. 5 boys, 1 girl. They're all, like, blessed as fuck. Like, I mean, the truth is, I don't know. I can't really compare the degree to which Chris and Kirk and myself were spoiled. And I don't mean rotten, just, like, given like, everything good. I think there was, you know, not everything was good, but given so many good things, so many opportunities, you know, so much love, so much protection, so much good food, that, I mean, shit, if everybody had that. If everybody had what we had as kids. And Ben and Mason, you know, effectively Chris and Kirk, I mean, especially if you don't factor in their advantages, right? You just look at them completely objectively, compare them to all the dads in the history, and be like, they're fucking great dads. And Amy and Alyssa are great moms. Now, my kid's mom is very, like, a good mom. She's very loving. We have more issues with one another than my brothers do, you know, with the aunt and uncle of Abraham and Hannah's cousins. I I mean, it's wild, right? So I was saying it's kind of written, right? Most of this shit is predetermined. Like the picture on my TV screen right now of some golf course or some shit, it's a lighthouse on a crazy rock promenade. That was gonna be there, right? Like you could possibly blow that up, right? Like you probably could. I'm sure no one's really worried about someone blowing that up. So if you wanted to change the face of the universe, you want to blow up this rock, not even the lighthouse, or like this green water is gonna fucking exist here. You could, if you dedicated your whole life to it, dye the water in this picture under this junk. The cells are so small. You could ruin this lagoon. We've ruined shit. We prove we can ruin shit. And there's a lot of weird holes on that fucking cliff. Like, what the fuck? Some faces. So, I mean, it's been a long time since I've been to one of those kind of exotic places. And the furthest I ever went was Cancun. I did see a Cancunicorn. I mean, I can Cunicorn and I can Guru. So, I mean, basically in college, you talk to Cara Ferraro, who told me that I might calm down if I smoke weed. And I got more hyper. I got what's called weed-ADHD. I say ADHD. I'm a literalist, an all literalist. And if y'all literalists, then I might, engage in some y'all literation. I'm actually distracted by what's on the TV right now. Fuck, it's very... It's like wheat. That's fucking crazy too, sorry. That's distracting. I can't do that. Family. Kids. How advantaged they are. How advantaged we were. Chris Kirk and I were very advantaged. Like, I think when Martin Luther King talked about... I don't give a fuck about doctorhood. Martin Luther King, like... Although if I was a doctor, I might make doctor hoodies. Again, I smoke very small amounts of weed, and more often lately, but never very much. And almost the entirety of the universe is predetermined. It's all of it. Most people die, and there's no... I don't remember what the paradox is when you go back. The grandfather paradox, maybe. You get great grandfather fuck. If you go back and you kill, probably doesn't happen exactly like, Black to the Future. You have your...
Here you go.
Dude, I just said Black to the Future. What are you talking about? Siri is fucking so stupid. This is It's not. This is, that's Amazon. Alexa, go fuck yourself. I don't like you. I'm sorry. Like, it's just showing me all these future... Oh, dude, wait, what? Oh, dude, fuck. Futurama. I would watch some Futurama. Bender. Like, I love... It's terrible, but, like, some of these fucking assholes. Blender is, like, great. Asshole. As I watch a movie, I could be distracted by that. There's a lot of... Unless I completely tune out. But I'm supposed to be recording something for the family, which I can say, oh, nice, 2 bottles of water are close. That is fucking killer. I'm ahead of where I've ever been. I'm down about 5 Gs. I had to, months and months and months ago, like after the summer, Papa didn't zero me out, like even at essentially base survival. At base survival, I will work. And work hard. Below, like I will look backwards. I'll be like, if there's any world in which I deserve to be this poor, which is relatively really poor, like then I am doomed. I'm fucking doomed. Like if I can't just get $5,000 from my father, who could in theory, maybe he could have 1,000 times 5,000. He could have 5 million. I don't know. I've always guessed he had 3.3 in like total net worth. But I mean, he could have 2.5. He could have 2. I mean, fuck. No. I guess if he had two and it was all. Say he had two besides his house and his place in the lake. Yeah, I mean, from that two, if you could make 10% a year, right? You make $200,000 a year. He could give me, and I don't think he spends $200,000 a year, but if he did, if he could make 10% on $2 million in the markets, that's $200,000. He gives me 36, you know, and he has 164 a year. It's probably not that, like, but if everything that he has is paid for, like if his houses are paid for, I mean, just say the house in Florida is paid for, the house in the lake's paid for, cars are paid for, Corvettes are paid for. I mean, they say that rich people borrow money, like you can, especially you can borrow money at a couple percent, and with good credit, and you can make, you know, double that probably. I mean, it'd be weird, like how much, if they knew that every, like you borrow 1,000, you do well. They let you borrow 1,000,000, you do well. They let you borrow a billion, you do well. They let you borrow a trillion and you bounce. I mean, that's happened a million times, right? And you can make a movie where the people are like, this motherfucker is going to magic carpet, like rug pull the shit out of us. And they're like, this is obviously a con, right? This is the real Seem Shady. Like, what? This is, it's a con, man. It's like a con mankind. Like, you want to con mankind? And a con. So everyone's like this like obviously like this is Sasha, this is Bernie, more or less intentionality. But what they find out in the end is like they have essentially, it's not even essentially and ideally intentionally come to the realization that the way the laws are in the world, like the way the world laws are, the most intelligent thing for them to do, they're very obsessed with efficiency. It's not the paperclip AI, but it's very, very desirous of providing the necessities of life, at least housing, water, and protection from the elements, and like basic medicines, food. I mean, you could raise a world and have no rules except for you don't hurt, you don't attack or hurt or poison. You don't scream at people without, you know, consent. Like, you don't fuck with people. You don't fuck with other people's freedom. We will have, obviously, billions of human hours of discussion about, like, how obviously not all the properties on the planet are legitimately owned in any fucking way. Like, there's oligarchs and thieves and, like, countries that came from brutal coups. And just, like, there's no way to go from the artificial real estate map, like the Israel estate planet map of the planet, the way it is right now, the way the sovereign powers who recognize one another and kind of like a jigsaw globe, and then all the companies that exist under them. Pretty much all the governments at this point realize that governments are have difficulties competing with capitalists. I mean, if the people of the United States, all of the intelligent, conscientious Americans responded to a call and joined a network that was completely not for profit, but it was very much about the expression of thoughts and sentences, recorded, respondable, ideas, debates, possible policies, general policies, and absolutely fluid polling, in large part in like a crowdsourcing or or a citizen sourcing way, like in a citizenship type system, where I'm really high as fuck. Oh, we're basically you bring human intelligence to bear, and that means people are choosing to consciously focus their intelligence and creativity in a certain way, probably to some degree in intentional conjunction with other people who are part of the same human union as them, whether it's a consumer union, a prosumer union, whatever kind of a yo union, like union with a Y, whatever kind of unity, whatever kind of unified demographic, whatever kind of intentional human, like subhuman, like subhuman family, an intentional human subfamily, not below in quality, but smaller, a subset. Subset just fucked me up. Weed is single-handedly the most responsible reason for me not being a body doctor, for me being Dr. Philosophy, for being Dr. or just calling myself Dr. Philanthropy, and I'm not Dr. I'm not part of a Dr. Philandering. I like to say philosophistrionic. It was a combination, I think, of philosophical and histrionic and sophistrionic, and I mean just sophist and sophistrionic are good. Philosophistrionic. What comes before phila though? Oh, I am. The great thing is, I'm actually talking. If I were typing, my shoulders would be tight. I fucked myself up by typing. I had no mentor, no decentralized mentor, no dementor. I mean, if you're a fan of that, my parents were muggles. Muggles. And I was a bit of like, or maybe they were not like, you didn't get mother fucked, you didn't get father fucked, you got muggle fucked. But like my parents, other than the fact that they both lost their fathers, when their fathers were when they were young as fuck, I would say they got very lucky. On both sides, they were made to like do something. My mom was made to like learn. Actually, you went to school, got a degree, became a nurse. They learned probably just kind of more by experience and being raised than anything, how to be a mother, how to be a very good mom. And the thing is this, if you take my mother's entire life, starting in 1947 and ending in 2009. So what were we? She was a nurse, and then she learned how to be a nurse and a mother. Something about spoiling the kids. So with the amount of total energy that my mother spent, and I would think with less stress, I could absolutely, and literally with, I think, no more money than she paid for her own, whatever she herself consumed, how much that cost, and everything I consumed. If you keep the money that she consumed and can spend that in an extremely egalitarian way, like she eats from the soup kitchen too, and you get rid of me, then there's enough money, but I come back as like a positive ghost teacher, and well, not a dementor, Dementors, I think, are from Harry Potter, maybe, and Dementor also, to me, thinks like a decentralized mentor. Like, when I say decentralized, like, that's decentralized roulette, sure, but it's also decent. Decentralized. Which is a great word. Decentralized is great. I don't know what other people have. I'm not going out to search. Like, in seconds, if you people give a fuck, you can search the things you like and find out. And if every single one of these words on the screen, and I can stop this now. That's that. This is this. This is the screen recording itself, so it looks weird as fuck. We should be full screen. But it still doesn't, I mean, it is obviously what? Centipede? That's fucking Centipede, right? Like, fucking weird. That's this screen projecting itself. You can see it, like, in the middle here. This is... Well, weird. The wire from the microphone, that is weird as fuck. That's usually not here. That's the iPad. I feel like I'm only seeing 4 of the cables here. But there are 7. I see 5, right? Black. Black. Oh, okay. Blue. Barely see that. Blue there. 2 black here. Also, like, symmetrical. 2 black here and 1 orange. There's another orange one up there. And I haven't even lowered this computer down. If you just watched all of this, I'll tell you this. I spend 70,000 hours like in front of a computer. Most of that time, the vast majority of the time, I wasn't like playing games. Or I wasn't like playing games or like watching porn or like killing time. Like, it wasn't like that. All this is like the background of my typewriter. Like, I'm by myself for fucking 25 years with freedom, but like trapped as fuck in my own life. I spend my entire time out of my mind, like finding ideas. Out of your mind is where every new idea ever was mined. Like, to say find, where they were found. Like, you could think of an idea as coming from a mind, but that mind can be seen as being outside of the mind of the miner. Until you find the idea, it's not in your mind. So when you find it out of your mind. If you like, do you mind? Do you mind? So now I totally forgot what the fuck I was gonna do. The fuck? What was I gonna do? We'll play this for a second while I'm thinking about it. I do like that dome. I'm fucking confused. I'm not. God, no sound. Oh, motherfucker. Like, why? Motherfucker. Not.
Sparta had 8,000 citizens. By 371 BC, just 100 years later, this number had dwindled to about 1,000. Legendary warriors as they were, they could not remain powerful with just 1,000 citizens. Thus Persia, Athens, and Sparta, which were unable to accept foreigners into their midst, fell as soon as they suffered defeat in major battle. Their allies left them for a more powerful hegemon, Rome.
I'm fucking beat up as fuck. Honestly, I get like waves when I can get a lot done, and then I feel I'm so fucking tired. My shoulders, my neck, my jaw, everything is so fucking tight. Stress my whole life, just like surviving it by running at 100%. Like, you know, the faster air going over the top of the wing. At that higher speed is lower pressure. And that's how I was able to lower the effects of 100% pressure by going faster. So like the relative experience of the pressure might be lower. And my mother was extremely like anxious, whatever. Like she had her own energy dealing with the world the way it is. Like she was a woman in a world where her mother just barely was born into a world where women could vote. Like her, I think my grandmother, Volland, Rosehart, Eleanor Rosehart Volland, she was born like right around when women got the right to vote. And think about, why am I in this window? Think about, and this I thought about this the other day. Think about, well, recently. Think about how racist, you know, America, the effects of America have been, like, I'm trying to assign, like, the effects of America have been, at times, and always, but, you know, more and more the further you go back, how racist it's fucking been from some people, from some systems, to people, just based on, like, some shit you just look and see how are you, where do you go from, like, snow to space, white to black, like where do you fit on that scale? That's how this person is being judged. So America was so racist, right? And it's fucked that black people today, I believe that the average black person in America still has like maybe at most like 15% of the wealth of the average white person, which is fucking crazy. And I'm sure some of that is tons of like pretty rich whites, probably, and tons of small, and there's more like, but it's not. This is per capita, right? It's 50. It's not. It's per capita, obviously. For every $100 the average white person has, an average black person has 15. Now, if you remove, like with white people, right? There's a variation from some people who would have like a ton of money, and some people would barely have any at all. But if you remove if you remove slavery from the equation, I mean, how would that happen? Like, I guess maybe you couldn't do it. You could get, if there was like an enlightened white guy who went back in time, he could go to the shore and be like, listen, they're gonna come catch you. Like, I have a time machine. They're gonna catch you. They're gonna lock your family up for like forever. Like, they're gonna kill some of your kids and shit. And I came back in a time machine, and I'm gonna capture you and take you to this place. But I'm gonna free you. We're just gonna make sure that they don't come here and get you. We're gonna break this grandfather effect, and we're gonna send you here and on the boat over to America. We will talk, right? And we will. I'll hand you like a legend of vaguely like how the future will happen, right? Like without times, right? But these things will happen in the future. So this black family, this black tribe that's like saved by this guy, or maybe you just kill the guy who has the slave boat, right? Like, you just we could easily with Hollywood, right? Make a studio where you go back in time and invent something that obviously, like, something very similar to that happened. It just did. Invent some horrible shit and go back and stop it. And like, I've seen some time travel shit like recently where they're trying to minimize the grandfather effect. Now I feel like, I guess you going back in time probably wouldn't be. I mean, the way movies are made, right? And like astrology, the way movies are made, you could just be like, this person could like go back and try to. Wait, who are they trying to kill? Some bad person? Are they a bad person? Or are they trying to go back in time? And I mean, imagine you just go back and kill your grandfather. Like, you want to kill your grandfather because, like, your grandfather was like Hitler or something. So you want to go back and kill this horrible person who you came from, just sacrificing yourself, and you're fucking miserable anyways. But that could be like just one tiny like episode. You could go back and steal slave ships. You could be like, if I had to go back and stop some fucking injustice, create like a different history moving forward. You could definitely create a new history moving forward. You could definitely, by telling lots and lots of highly creative, pretty brilliant seeds of ideas brought out into a narrative form, shorter or longer, I think you could get people to think like, fuck, like if we went back, we could do that. Like if we could have done that. We could do this. We could do that. We could do this, and we could do that. And like, you don't have to run the race, even if you're a rat. Even if you're rat shit. Even if you want to know about bad shit. You can't match it. So, that was like Hollywood. Like, there's all these, like, you can go back in time and appear on a ship, kill the guy, the slave guy who's taking the ship, take the ship somewhere else, and just tell those people some shit, right? Like, instead of their family becoming slaves, you still steal them. You still, like, I have to sin, I captured them, but I knew this dude was coming. Or, no, you let the guy catch them. I guess you just return them home, though. So it would have to be something when you can't actually get to these people until you can't get them back to their homes. So they're automatically going to America or somewhere in the Caribbean. And the only thing you can do on the ship is talk with these people. And they know you're the guy that took them, right? And they're like, whatever your methodology is, like when you drop them off and you give them the ship, you even say, put me in prison, do what you will with me. You were going to be, like, you were on a ship, and you're all gonna fucking die. And some of you will have kids, will have kids. Those kids will be financially better off than the average person where your descendants were stolen from. Like, some right wingers will definitely argue that shit. Like, but America made everyone more. Rome is kind of an anomaly. I like to pretend like a lot of times like why white people did bad shit around the planet is because white people somehow end up in at the right times and climates where you're gonna have like needs for more and hotter fires. Like, it gets cold as fuck where like white people live. So maybe they like made more indoor contained fires, right? And somebody discovered like Baba, this thing we dig here faster, longer lasting, faster, stronger, bigger, faster, stronger, longer. You can make a fucking stick to take a slap shot like fucking Chris Pronger. Chris Pronger.